Welcome to Star Scene. Today we are here with the drummer of one of my favourite bands, Mikey Prain of New Zealand band Die Die Die. Hey Mikey, how you going?
Kia ora, hi. Thank you very much for having me on.
Our pleasure. You recorded and are about to release on the 23rd of October a double A-sided EP, I Seek Misery and 450. How difficult has it been in the current situation with the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's first and foremost really exciting to be able to release this and do it on through a 7-inch, which is really exciting. So we're all really happy about that. And in terms of making it more difficult through the pandemic, it's just been a lot slower in the process-wise, stopping and starting, like literally not being able to record, not being able to rehearse in our practice room and things like that does sort of push timeframes out a little bit in respect to how we would usually just, make music quite quickly. But it has given us time to sort of like spend a little bit more time changing songs up and things like that. And I know especially for the song 450, that went through a lot of different sort of structures and things like that. So I think we needed to actually record it so we could stop rewriting it in a lot of ways.
And how did you record it?
So for this one, we recorded it at a studio in Auckland called Roundhead. So originally we were planning to go to Chicago and record with Steve Albini. And we were sort of all set for that, and then of course events didn't let us do that. So one of the main reasons for wanting to go to Chicago and record with electrical audio was to do it all analog. So we were sort of searching around of possible studios that had a tape machine, and Roundhead had those facilities. So we got together with a really old friend of ours who we knew from the South Island, from Dunedin and Christchurch, and he'd taken over a studio position at Roundhead. So it sort of all came together really nicely for us to record on tape, and have the engineer being someone we've known for a very long time and who's known the band for ages. So it worked out really well.
Excellent. I'm glad it did work out. It would have been great to see Steve Albini's take on this, maybe the next album.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, it's, it could be something for the future. So.
Yeah. How did you go when you did record with Steve Albini the first time? What was that like?
That was interesting because that was our first record. So we hadn't had much experience of recording in studios before, and it started with quite an ambitious plan for us to do the first album there, which was a really good way to go, but it was quite daunting in a lot of ways, turning up to the studio and not knowing quite what to expect and things like that. But we really enjoyed it. We did it so quickly too. Like we literally did it in 3 days. 3 days that we completed the whole album. But that's kind of why we were wanting to do it again this time, to kind of revisit that after spending a lot more time doing recordings and knowing exactly what we wanted and what sounds we want to get and things like that. So it's just a process of learning how to use the studio environment, I suppose.
Do you find that you're asked to change a lot of things when you get to the studio, or can you still follow your vision?
It's difficult because the minute I know that we all find this really, you set up and you've got microphones, and then you press the record button, and there's suddenly in that first hour, a couple of hours, quite a lot of tension and anxiety about when you kind of just make a little bit of a slip up or something like that. And so it's just a matter of kind of forgetting about that you're recording, and that's when sort of the best stuff starts happening, because you're trying to, especially for a band with us, what's focus on high energy and things like that. You're trying to recreate that feeling, but in quite a sterile environment where it's, you know, just you sort of separated from each other a little bit.
I love how you did your latest film clip with I Seek Misery. You did it together. It really gives someone the feel of you guys live. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I mean, this is another thing with just how I suppose with the pandemic and everything like that, how things have changed what we're doing. We that was literally like when we filmed that, it was our first time we were able to get together back in our practice room. So we were just sort of like, well, let's just jump on this opportunity now and try to do something really simple and really quick, and get it out there. So, and it's, yeah, we for this single and for the purpose of the song, I think it works really well, just like having a live performance piece. So
that's right, and it does remind us of how much we took for granted when everything was when you were allowed to go see live music.
Yeah, definitely, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, and also just like, I mean, yeah, and our decision just to keep it, you know, black and white and things like that was, you know, it all sort of made sense.
Mikey, do you seek misery?
Not intentionally. So I mean, it's quite funny when and I'm not going to speak for Andrew's lyrics because that's his personal story. And but yeah, it's when with song titles and things, we've always enjoyed playing around with concepts and ideas and basically, yeah, not to take things literally, shall we say.
Yeah, you do have some really interesting song titles and ideas. Does that all come together, as in, do you just jam together and come up with the songs, or do you have something worked out beforehand?
Yeah, it's always been a focus on being collaborative together, and we've always sort of worked best when it is that collaboration, and sort of feeding off ideas and bouncing off against things like that. So I mean, that's about how song titles and things like that come up also, just between the three of us, what happened that day, what was happening in the when we were making that song, things like that. They sort of form quite organically. So
excellent. And last week you were filming another film clip. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've got this was that's going to come out for the music video for 450. So we went out to a island that's close to Auckland, about a 30-minute ferry trip from downtown Auckland, Rangitoto, which is a volcanic island out there, which has got quite stunning really, with the volcanic rock and just a really, really beautiful place. We went out last Friday and we were literally some of the only 4 people on the island. So yeah, it was a great time to do that. So we did it all on Super 8 film also. So we're still not sure how it's going to look, but we will find out. So I'm sure there's some great stuff.
You put a lot of trust into the camera person.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll look great. Can't wait to see it. And you're working on a new album as well. Yeah,
so this has kind of been like this. It just kind of, and I suppose this has come about this single that we're releasing at the end of October, from delaying different things, because when we were going to Chicago in the middle of the year, when we planned to do that was to record a full-length album. So when that got delayed, we were kind of like unsure of quite when we'd be recording again and things like that. So just to focus on doing like making this single, this 2-sided single, and then we've decided that we're pretty much on track to record the full album before the end of the year. So that's really exciting because we've been working on that for a while now. So
fantastic. Can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to getting those songs.
And are you doing limited releases again? Because I know with this one you've got the blue vinyl as a limited release. Are you doing something similar with the album?
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna think about how we can release that. I mean, that's the other thing with how some things have changed with using things like Bandcamp and stuff like that. It's actually much easier to do those things now. Just go and make a small limited run of vinyl or things like that, and it's quite an exciting way of releasing music. So we sort of started that with last year when we got our album Promises repressed, and we just put it all out exclusively through Bandcamp, and yeah, it was just a really fantastic response from people like saying, oh, I've wanted to get this record for ages, and then just to be able to directly send it out to people has been great.
So you've announced a New Zealand tour. We're very jealous here in Melbourne and Australia.
Yes.
Do you think if things progress the way they do, hopefully, the borders will open, coming back to Australia anytime soon?
Yep, we would love to see a Trans-Tasman bubble, of course. So the minute that happens, we'd really like to come over and play again. In terms of just this putting together this tour, feel very grateful that we can do it, and it's quite exciting to be able to play lots of our new songs and things like that. So really, we're all really looking forward to that one.
And you've done so much touring, extensive, in fact, incessant touring. You've been to Europe, USA, of course, Australia, but also Russia. What was that like? Yeah,
so I mean, there's been lots of places we've revisited quite a lot, and then sort of places like Russia that we went to once, and that was an incredible experience, and especially seeing we played 2 shows there, one in Moscow, one in St. Petersburg, and some of the people that came to the shows came up to us and they'd been fans of the band for since we first started, since they'd got the first EP and first albums, and they'd travelled 6 hours to get to the show, which was quite humbling in a lot of ways, and quite when you travel all the way over to such a faraway destination, to have that sort of response was great.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, are there any on-the-road anecdotes that you can share with us that maybe you really shouldn't?
I couldn't possibly think of any. I don't know. Not really. Just be nice to each other. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, you've survived so many years as a band. Since 2003. What do you think helped along the way?
I think it's just remaining creative. I think it's always pushing forward to doing something that you haven't done before, or trying out new ideas. And it's always that's what I mean. I've spoken to a lot of people say it's a really nice dynamic to work in a band when you've got 2 others and you work as a unit, and that's your all 3 for in our band's case, all 3 parts bring different things to the sound and how we like to put things together. So it's just about keeping on pushing boundaries, I reckon, and keeping it exciting and fresh for yourself.
Well, we definitely love the drum beat, the constant, fast, hard-hitting drum beat that you bring. Don't you get tired? I get tired just watching you play. It's funny, isn't it? It's just that's what we've with this sort of band, when we do get together, we're we do try out lots of different ideas and things like that, and sometimes we just always fall on that sort of high energy the fast thing, and it doesn't actually feel too exhausting. It just feels sort of natural these days. That's fantastic, and it sounds great. It looks great. I love to watch you play. Can't wait till you play live again. If you were to describe your sound in food form, how would you describe it?
I think we'd be like maybe like a chocolate brownie.
Why?
A little bit crunchy and sweet.
Oh, that's so cute. And what is your scene?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about this when I was looking at your website, and I was thinking, what is our scene these days? And I reckon it's just, you know, whatever small community you can get together. For us, it's been recently just been a practice space that we've had in the centre of town that we share with quite a few other musicians. We've got Stephen Neville, who plays in Palmas, who's going on tour with us. He's got a studio there. And that's like just a nice little music community. I mean, even the other day we did some recording there on an 8-track and things like that. So it's not the biggest scene in the world, but it's our little bubble there.
Love it. Thank you so much.
No worries.